That's a fine maypole.
Jesus Christ be praised.
God bless.
What do you need? Hurry up. I don't have all day.
I heard you could use a helping hand at the forge.
I could. My last two hands, well, they're not worth mentioning. And what with the wedding coming up, the work is piling up. What do they call you?
Henry.
I'm Radovan. You should know, Henry. The blacksmithing isn't for everyone. Have you done it before?
Yeah. I basically grew up in the forge. My father was a swordsmith, and not just any. He even forged swords for the nobility.
For the nobility, eh? Well, that kind of experience will come in very handy for me indeed. As it happens, I have to forge a wedding present for young Lord Semine. A fine sword.
So you'll take me on?
Hold your horses. I'll have to try you out first. You could forge me a hunting sword as a test, so I can see if you can make a straight blade. That shouldn't give you much trouble if your father was a swordsmith, should it?
Sure thing. I can get started right away.
Great. Find some iron and get started then.
Iron?
You can't make a sword out of butter, but if you don't have your own stuff, you can get everything from the chest in my forge. Where are those pliers? Go over to the anvil and let's get started. Furnace is cold now. Give it a practice try. Some things, like swords, are too long to fit in the fire. You have to heat it up and bit by bit. Try poking it around for a bit. Now get the furnace nice and hot. There's a lever above you. Give it a pull. It works the bellows. Tell the temperature by the color, but you won't be able to tell when it's in the fire. You have to take it out from time to time and take a look. Try it out. See? That's exactly the straw color we want. You've got talent, lad. Now heat up the whole thing. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Try moving the sword along the anvil so you can get the hang of it. Now take the hammer and try hitting it a few times. See the sparks? That's the sign of a good strike. The more sparks, the better. Also, you can hammer with different degrees of power. A stronger hit will do more, but it'll tire you out faster. Try giving it a few blows, as hard as you can, so I can see how strong you are. That's got a nice ring to it. Of course, if it was all about hitting an anvil with a hammer, any dolt could do it. You've got to hammer the workpiece evenly. One hit next to the other. Very nice. You're doing just fine. But when I say evenly, I mean it. A sword has two sides, like a lot of other things, including myself. Turn it over and continue on the other side. Nice. Now try forging it on both sides. The closer it is to being finished, the more it will take on the shape you want. It'll cool off soon anyway. It's cooled now. You can't do it all in one go. You've got to put it back in the furnace from time to time. Sometimes you've got to go there and back all day. But it's all part of the craft. Now, get back to the forge and heat it all up again, like before. The whole thing is heated up now, so come over to the anvil. Hear that? Besides the spark, you can tell a good strike by the sound it makes. That's the ring you want. Sparks. That's the stuff. That's the ring you want. Sparks. That's the stuff. Well struck. The ring you want. See how it's taking on the right shape? That's how you can tell it's almost finished. Now, I've got a piece of advice for you. Hammer to a rhythm. When I hammer a piece to a beat, the work goes by easier. Sometimes I'll whistle to myself to keep the rhythm going. That's some nice whistling. Well struck. There you go. You've got it finished. All that's left is to temper it, and the sword will be done. The rest is just tweaking. Right. Let's have a look. Very nice work. Your father taught you the trade well.
He'd certainly be happy to hear that.
If you carry on hammering as well as you did today, you've definitely got a job here. Even so, keep in mind, it's all about making sure every strike does its job. That's why you can't let it get cold, or keep striking the same spot. If you work evenly, each strike falling right next to the last one, you can't go wrong. Got that? Or is there something else you want to ask about?
How will I know it's finished?
Notice the shape. The closer you are to finishing, the more precise the shape it will have.
Thanks. That's all I need to know.
You can sleep in the chamber by the woodshed. And there's a chest where you can keep your things. And of course, you can use the forge anytime you want. Any questions?
What can I do with the items I've forged?
Well, you can sell them. Though you probably won't have much luck around here. But I'll happily buy some of the nicer things from you.
Where can I get materials?
You can buy some essentials from me. But if you want to make a fancy sword with lots of ornamentation, you'll have to look elsewhere. This is just a village, you know. The locals ain't after luxury. And they can't afford it neither.
What now?
What do you think? You're not going to be idle. I'll find you some work to do right away. You're pretty good at swords, but what the locals really need is axes and horseshoes. Right, here are some simple drawings that show what they're both supposed to look like. And some iron. You can get down to it right away.
Just like that? You aren't going to help me?
Sacre, lad. I chose you because you already know a thing or two. I'm not going to look over your shoulder all bloody day. You take care of these smaller jobs. Forge away as long as you're able, and then sell it all. Once you've made some coin and feel like being out in the open again, I'll give you some more interesting work.
You're having problems with the Geliovites?
Not just me, my friend. They're the biggest bastards around. They've been nothing but trouble for years. The winter before last, they piled snow in front of everyone's doors at night, so no one could get out of their house. And last year, they broke into my cellar and pissed in my beer barrel.
Gracious. I hope you got your aim back on them.
Not yet, no. But since you're here, I've got a plan you could help me out with. I'd pay you well. You can count on that.
What exactly would you like me to do?
Don't worry. I won't make you do any shoveling or pissing anything. But I'll tell you exactly what I have in mind, only after you promise to help me. I'd hate to reveal my plan, only for you to go off and tell the Geliovites right away.
Well, if you've got it all figured out, why don't you do it yourself?
Right. And who's going to run the inn in the meantime, eh? Besides, everyone in Geliof knows us. If someone from here shows up there, they'll get suspicious.
All right. I'll help you.
Listen up then. Old Albram, the owner of the biggest plot of land in Geliof, has this beautiful bull. White as snow he is. The finest animal far and wide. Obviously, he's very proud of it. Very protective, too. Now you, will give his beautiful snow-white bull a nice new coat of paint. Albram is going to lose his mind. Simple, right?
Painting a bull, eh? That sounds like fun.
Right. We just have to work out a few details. First, we have to get some paint. I don't reckon we'll be able to get any here in the village, but you can try and ask Bartoszek, the tailor in Trotskovitz. I hear he dyes his own fabric. And after that, we'll have to make sure the bull stays still while you're painting it. Try asking Radovan, the local blacksmith. I hear he can make some kind of sleeping potion. If you pour it in the bull's water trough, I'm sure it'll do the trick. But watch out. That beast is enormous. You'd better put at least 3 doses of the potion in there.
All right, then. Albram's bull will be getting a new coat of paint.
Olbram's going to lose his mind. I can't wait. And remember, it's supposed to be a joke. If you get caught or something goes wrong, the whole thing will be ruined.
Right. So I need paint, sleeping potions, and to not get caught. Why do you and the Zhelyov lot hate each other so much, anyway?
It's their fault. They keep playing tricks on us. Olbram's the worst of them all. The nasty old codger. He's always coming up with ways to mess with us. He's the one that stole our pasture.
What pasture did they steal from you?
The one that stretches from the orchard behind the Takov down to the gamekeeper's lodge. It's been ours since time immemorial, but the Zhelyevites took it from us.
And how did they take it from you? You can't exactly stuff a pasture in your purse and walk away with it.
Save the jokes, will you? This is fucking serious. There's a tree down by the gamekeeper's lodge that marks the edge of our land. My father, God rest his soul, was there when they agreed on it. He got a proper ass kicking so he'd remember it, and remember it he did. But then fucking Olbram came along, claiming it was the other way round, and that pasture belonged to Zhelyov.
Well, can't you all just reach some kind of agreement?
Do you think we haven't tried? But there's no talking to the Zhelyevites. Year after year we meet in that pasture. I tell it like it was, but Olbram always starts spewing his lies. Then we end up arguing until the sun sets. And when the Zhelyevites are at wit's end, they come at us, and nothing ever gets solved. We managed to convince them to at least give us back half the pasture. But I know the whole bloody thing belongs to us. We can't just leave things like this.
Have you tried asking Lord von Burgov for help?
Of course, but he'd have none of it. He said it's up to the Trotskovitz bailiff to sort it out. But the bailiff couldn't care less. He said we should deal with Olbram ourselves, or he'll have us caned and clapped in the pillory.
I need something that'll put animals to sleep. Prochek said you might know something.
Did you get tired of blacksmithing and take up farming instead? I just happen to know of something. I used a concoction that will put even a startled mare to sleep in no time. I once accidentally drank some and slept for 3 days. But the recipe is an old blacksmith's secret. The kind you don't just give away. You're in the trade, so I can tell you. Listen up then. You take some poppy and thistle and boil them in oil. Then, after it cools off, you add a little herb Paris.
That doesn't sound too complicated. Thank you.
What do you want here, you scoundrel? Why'd you barge in here?
What's new around here?
Vostotek. Lord von Beregov's huntsman is a regular here. He might have some work for you. He's got a cottage near Vidlak Pond. So if you know your way around the woods, you could go and offer him your help. I hope he hasn't started drinking somewhere else. He's my best customer. You could also stop by and see Old Mouth. He's the local storyteller. He could tell you all sorts of interesting things, but only if you bring him some liquor. Don't forget, I have some here to sell, if you want. And that's all I'd say.
Sounds interesting. Thank you, innkeeper.
One beer, please.
I've heard you dye your own fabric.
I used to. I tried a few times, but I had to give it up. Troskovitz is on a hill, and there's not enough water for that. Why'd you ask?
I'd like to buy some pigment.
I see. Or perhaps I could find some leftover black. If you have enough groschen, it's yours.
Ah, damn. That's more money than I thought.
Well, lad, a rare thing like that has a price. Take it or leave it.
All right, I'll come back when I have the money.
I'll be waiting.
I'd like to buy that pigment from you. Here's the money.
And here's the paint. Be careful not to stain yourself. Quality material like this doesn't come off easily. Is that all, or is there anything else I can do for you?
Excuse me. I'm looking for someone. A friend of mine. The one who ended up in the pillory with me.
Loads of people have been in the pillory, and you know what it's like. I'm really busy right now.
You haven't seen him then? Tall, fair-haired, fancies himself and talks like a noble.
Sorry, but I'm swamped with work because of the Semine wedding. Everyone wants new clothes from me. Even Bashka the butcher ordered a jacket fit for a king, and he isn't even going to the wedding. So no, I haven't seen your friend and I can't help you, sorry.
This is unbelievable. Nice hit! Bleeding like a stuck pig.
Nice hit! Let him have
Es
it!
ist vorbei.
Gather round, good men, so you can avoid danger. Hear what I say about the greatest evil of all, the one called woman. They look like angels.
That's a beautiful bull you've got there.
Aye, Olbram's really fond of it. They tried to steal it from him once, and he's been suspicious ever since.
I reckon he guards him quite closely, eh?
I'll say. He has a farmhand walk around the byre with a lantern all night. Farewell.
am I going to do with you? Aye. This'll be good. It's done. Olbram's bull isn't as white as it used to be.
I knew you wouldn't let me down, mate. Olbram must be having a fit. I can almost see it.
To hell with the fucking pricks. The lousy cities are...
All right, then. Here's the reward I promised you. Every last groschen.
Thanks.
And since you already got caught up in our little dispute, maybe you can help me with something else.
So, what can I help the Takovites with this time?
We're planning to meet with the Geliovites in the pasture that they keep arguing with us about. We'll sort it all out with them there. Nicely. Man to man. Wouldn't you like to join us?
Why not? After painting that bull, it would actually be quite a pleasant change to talk things over face to face.
Aye. Talk. We'll get into a huge argument and then start punching each other in the gob. So then, should I send for Olbram so we can get going?
Wouldn't you rather call an end to this endless feud with the Geliovites? That way, you'd each have half of the pasture and everyone's happy, no?
Chance would be a fine thing. Olbram will never give up. He says the whole pasture is his.
The bordeth by the orchard, that's where I got my ass kicked.
Who knows what the old fool got his ass kicked for back then.
You should talk to the bailiff and get him to support you.
Thrush! He already said ages ago he doesn't want to get involved. He even threatened us with the stocks if we keep bothering him.
Well, as you wish. You know what? I'll go have a talk with Thrush. Would you wait for me for a bit?
All right, but don't get your hopes up. And don't you go ganging up with them Gelioff bastards against us.
I came because of the arguments between Takov and Geliov.
Kurva, what happened this time? Did Olbram piss in Project's ale barrels again like last year?
No, but they're getting ready to meet up and beat each other up.
Let them do it then! Maybe a few knocks to the skull will do them good, and they'll leave me alone.
How did the arguments between the Takovites and Geliovites start, anyway?
What do I know? I was a young lad back then, but it's all because of that bloody pasture. Both villages claim that it belongs to them, but nobody has any evidence. So they split it in half, but neither side is particularly happy about it.
Shouldn't you find out who the damn pasture belongs to then, bailiff?
Why should I? Let them eat each other for all I care. In the worst case, I'll put them all in the stocks. That should sort them out.
Wouldn't it be nice for the Takovites and Geliovites to leave you alone? I mean, take a look at yourself. I reckon you're not the youngest. Do you really need to get involved in some senseless brawl in a pasture?
Not the youngest? How dare you, you cheeky brat!
No, wait. That's not what I meant. Lord von Berghoff would surely be glad you're taking care of his domain.
You think so? After all, who else but a wise and kind bailiff like me could get those idiots to make up? How the fuck am I supposed to find out who the pasture belongs to? I looked in the Chronicle. Things like that tend to be there. But Bailiff Brada, who was here before me, must have been a lunatic. You'd have to be mad to make any sense of that book.
Then let me have a look. I may not be mad, but maybe I'll find something you overlooked. You won't have to worry about anything.
you want to touch such a rare book with those filthy peasant hands? Have you lost your mind?
Filthy peasant hands? Do you know how many books I've read? And I never fold corners. If there's anything actually useful in the Chronicle, I'll find it.
Fine, have it your way. Maybe you'll manage to make some sense of Brada's bullshit. But if I find out you've even opened that book too harshly, you'll have me to answer to. Master Scribe?
What do you want?
I just came to see if you're working.
What does it look like?
Well, it looks to me that instead of writing, you're just scribbling nonsense.
They're called letters, and that's exactly what I'm paid to do.
Oh, well, carry on then.
This Latin phrase looks important. Otherwise it wouldn't be written in red, would it? Fecit ordinem in region ope claviferae. I should try to find somebody who could translate it for me.
What can I do for you?
I need to translate something from Latin. You're an educated man, aren't you? Would you help me?
Why not? It's nice to see simple folk wanting to get educated. What is it you need translated?
Fecit ordinem in regione ope claviferae.
That's definitely Latin, but what could it mean? In regione is obvious. That's in the country or region. Fecit ordinem is something like to bring order. And clave ferre means iron spike or maybe nail. So, brought order to the region with the help of an iron nail. Where did you hear that nonsense?
That's not important. The main thing is I know what it means, and hopefully it'll help me in my work. Thank you.
Wake up! Come on!
Oh, I'll call the bailiff on him for this.
I came to apologise for the fight that me and Lord Capon started. If we caused any damages, I'll take care of them.
You've served your penance by carrying them sacks, and I'm sure you won't forget about the stocks anytime soon either, eh? So we're square. If you want to help me out, though, I do know something you could do. There's a group of humans at the table over there, and they want some food, but, well, I don't know. I'm scared of them.
Should I kick them out?
No, a guest's a guest, and coin's coin, but do you think you could serve them for me? Better to have a fella deal with them.
What are humans doing in Troskowitz anyway?
Beats me. I reckon Sigismund sent them.
But if that was the case, he'd order them to pillage and murder, not sit around in a tavern.
Look, all I know is that they're sitting in my yard, are hungry, and have a pile of groschen that I could really use.
All right. But I'm not sure I'll understand them.
You'll manage. One of them speaks our language. But be quick about it. They're starting to make the locals nervous. Wojtek at the next table looks like he's about to pounce on them. And no more fighting. I want this to go smoothly. Farewell, my friend.
Like we should be living in fear for our
The innkeeper said you wanted some food.
Exactly. We do not want much. Just some bread and something beside. Maybe a bit of sausage.
Do you have money?
We have, and we pay for everything. On my name, not Voshko.
I spoke to the Cumans. They want some bread and sausage.
Do they have money?
Well, they say they do. They promised to pay for everything.
Well, all right. I'll believe them. The food is in the tavern pantry. But don't you dare take anything else, you hear?
They think they can do whatever they want, man.
I mean, you got that blessing?
Úgy néznek ránk, mint a gyilkosok.
Nobody's safe
Csodálkozom.
Here you go.
Thank you. I afraid we leave. Ahesh. Without food.
Korva, why are you even talking to them? They can go to hell.
What were you thinking coming here? Cumans don't exactly have the best reputation around here.
We don't want trouble. We're just hungry. We had enough of that. Etel back at camp. We just want to eat something good for change.
The locals don't want you here, and neither do I. The less Cumans I meet in my lifetime, the better.
Not all humans sing. But what you say? We eat and we go.
How come you speak our language so well?
From mother. It is long 13 story. Maybe I tell another time. Now we just want to eat.
I wish you good appetite.
Thanks, friend.
I wouldn't exactly say friend.
Mit mondott?
Jó advádiót kívánok nekünk.
Remélem nem mérgezte meg.
You should get the fuck out of here. You hear me, you Hungarian pork sausage?
Easy, fella. They just want to eat their food in peace and leave.
You seem very sure about that. Last time you got into a brawl here yourself, and now you're going to preach to us about peace? Oh shit. I say we smash their teeth in and be done with it.
Just look at them. Can't you see they're stone-cold killers? They'd make short work of you without even breaking a sweat.
All right. I won't fight them, but only because we'd make a mess of the place. But they should still fuck off.
All right, to keep the peace, we will go.
És mi van az étellel?
Huh?
Bloody vagrants. And you're obviously forgetting whose side you're on, lad.
What? I just didn't want any fights, that's all.
It doesn't matter. Cumans are Cumans. Brutes. Nothing will change that. You know what? You should make sure those Cumans never come back here again. Ever. If you catch my drift.
Me? Why?
Because you don't want to end up in the stocks again, do you? Find the horsefuckers' camp and explain to them that they don't belong among decent folk. All right, seems they came from Samin. Someone must have noticed that rabble.
What's the latest news, innkeeper?
Have you heard about the Divozhenka of Semain?
What Divozhenka?
You haven't seen one yet? A Divozhenka is a wild woman of the forest. An ugly, disfigured creature. You can find them deep in the woods or caves, where they make their ointments and gather magic herbs. Sometimes they hurt people, sometimes they help them. You shouldn't go there.
Why not?
The Samin lot did that. They were worried she might put young Lord Samin under a spell, especially now, because of the wedding. So they took care of her. And that's about it, I say.
Sounds interesting. Thank you, innkeeper. Ah, here's the damn nail. Right in the middle of the pasture. Olbram and Prochek won't be happy. I finally found the damn border between the Takov and Zhelyov parts of the pasture.
How the hell did you manage that?
I found it in that chronicle of yours. It wasn't easy, but we can finally put an end to all that endless fighting.
Oh, about fucking time. So then, are you sure you found the right place?
Definitely. Bailiff Brada took iron nails and used them to mark the border so that people wouldn't forget where it is. One of them is in the oak tree on the pasture.
That's nice of him and all, but he could have fucking told somebody about it. Who can make sense of those writings of his? At least old Brahman Project will leave us alone now. Go to them, and when you all meet in the pasture, I'll ride over and settle this nonsense once and for all. And if those two start arguing again, I'll be hammering nails into their arses instead of trees.
I sorted everything out. Let's go and meet the Zhelyevites and have a discussion.
Finally! Come on, let's call the lads over and send for Olbram. Well, Zhelyevites, did you miss us?
Of course they did. I reckon they hardly slept a wink.
Can you blame them? I'd rather come and get a beating than hang around in Zhelyov too.
You see? They're provoking us again. There's no use trying to negotiate with them.
There's nothing to negotiate, old man. The pasture is ours, and that's final.
Bullshit! You know right well that I got smacked around as a child in that orchard, right over there.
You know what? Now you'll get smacked around here too.
Enough! Does anybody here have anything better to do?
Trust? What are you doing here?
This shouldn't concern you, bailiff. We'll just beat those bastards' arses and go home.
Sort them out, bailiff. Put a stop to their nonsense once and for all.
I won't tolerate this nonsense in my territory.
Tell that to the Zhelyevites. Maybe they'll finally get it into their thick heads that this pasture is ours.
In your dreams, you Takovite swine!
Kurva! Be quiet already!
You're both wrong. The pasture is split in half. From here to that oak over there is Zhelyov property, and from the oak on it belongs to Takov.
We're supposed to share with them? Pah!
How do you know? You're not even from around here.
But unlike you, yokels, he can read. It's all there, black on white, in the Troskovitz Chronicle. So you'll obey it and finally give it a rest.
They've done so much to hurt us. They should have to make it up to us. Make them pay.
None of that. They're the ones always provoking us. You know what? Let's give them a nice final bashing.
Knock it off already. Haven't you had enough of all this senseless arguing over the years? All those worthless problems and wasted time? Can't you just shake hands and make up?
That's right. From this point forward, this dispute is over. And if I hear about anyone causing trouble again, I'll have you all clapped in the pillory. Together. Now pack up and go home.
Well, Grandpa, are you satisfied?
Kurva, not in the slightest.
God bless.
Are you?
No.
Well, at least it's fair. But I'd still rather punch you in the face.
Don't you worry. I'm sure we'll find a reason to fight again soon enough. Otherwise, there'd be an awful bore around here, eh?
Well said.
Now, I hope the Takovites and Zhelyevites won't be at each other's throats for a while.
I can hardly believe it. I'm sure Lord von Berghoff will be delighted with how I handled it.
How you handled it?
Aye? With a little help from you. True enough. It's nice that someone deals with problems instead of making more for a change.
Ah, don't mention it.
Leave it off. We've got our good name back. Since you did so well with the Chronicle, I have another book of knowledge for you. I didn't get much out of it myself, but maybe you'll find something revealing in it. That's a damn fine reward, don't you think?
My word. Thank you.
What would you like? It's about those two idiot hands of mine, Venser and Franzi. They drove off with a cart full of goods towards Semin, and they never came back.
Do you want me to find them?
Just so. But more importantly, I want to know where my cart ended up, and especially the cargo. Go to Semin and find out what the bloody hell happened.
Have you any idea which way they might have gone? I could have a look along the way. Maybe their cart broke down or something.
There's only one road to Semin that can take a cart. It leads from Takov to Troskovitz, and then to the south. But I've got a bad feeling they got up to no good in Semin.
Those two hands of yours, Venser and Franzi, what can you tell me about them?
Can't tell you much. They're wandering laborers. I don't think they wanted to stay here with me for long, but these days I can use all the help I can get.
Were they suspicious in any way?
No, they worked hard. They ain't no slackers. And I can't say that about everyone.
What was the cart carrying?
Bugger and bollocks. All sorts of stuff. I'd say Lord Semin wants to rearm his garrison with new equipment. There were some hunting swords, bastard swords, crossbow bolts. I also fixed the trigger on young Semin's crossbow. And some kitchen stuff. Sacks of charcoal, all sorts of things. There's a good month's work in that cartload.
All right. I'll get right on it then.
Go ahead. And if you find that pair of fools drunk, kick their asses for me.
Gladly. I'll kick some sobriety into them.